So hello, this is the continuation of organizing data. So I am teacher Melay. So what we are going to do is of course to continue coming up with the frequency count and percent distribution of this given data set. So as mentioned in the previous video, we need to encode the bin range, which is actually the numbers involved here. It's 1 and 2. And then after that, what we need to make sure is that we have the data analysis. So just click again data analysis, and then select histogram and then click OK. So what you need to do is to select your data set. So we selected the data set from numbers from C2 to C30, which corresponds to 6, and the bin range now corresponds to the number 1, 2. Or just to repeat doing it, it's 1, 2. And then there's no need, as emphasized, there's no need to click labels because we did not check or we did not include in the selection the labels. And then just click OK. So this is now the frequency count and percent for 6. So what we need to do is to edit this. So sex, frequency, and we need to come up with the percent. We know that we encoded 1 to correspond it to male and 2 which corresponds to female. So there's more here, 0, which means that we actually did not commit in entering our data from which is limited only into 1 and 2. So we can replace this to total. So if of course you know the total, so you can just click the total. 16 plus 29 is 39 min is 29. So for the percent, the formula for the percent, so let us just recall this. This is actually frequency all over the total, or 16 divided by 29 times 100%. So here, so I'll select 16 slash corresponding to division over 29 times 100, so equal sign. And you can place a dollar sign in between, or you can just actually, instead of doing that, just place the total. So V2 over 29 times 100, and then just drag it. So as you can see in our data, so it is 5 decimal places. And if we want to edit this into 2 decimal places, we can just simply select the letter C here or column C, click format cells, number. So decimal places is 2, then click OK. So this is now the frequency distribution table for our sex. So let's just copy this and paste it in Microsoft Word. So our objective is to come up with frequency count and percent of all of this chart, or rather all of this data. So what we need to do is to place. So let's name this as table 1. Table 1 is the frequency count and percent of the sex of the students, and paste our data. So this is our table. So we can simply place all borders. Okay, so the next thing is, of course, to consider all other tables. So what you need to do is to do the same procedure also for Let's go back. To do the same procedure for our sex, sorry, socioeconomic status, year, level, and relationship status. So the same procedure will be followed. Now, how about for age? So we actually have, what's the minimum number? 18, and the maximum is 25. So if we will consider 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, so that is 8 numbers. But in fact, we can actually group this by also considering range, bin range. So let's say that our objective is to have 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24 and above. So for example, we aim for, do we have 24 here? Oh, we also have 25. So if we aim to come up with this age bracket, so you have to make sure that the interval in each of the values here are the same. So let's say 18, 19, 20. So we have three numbers. Then 21, 22, 23, also three numbers. Except for, of course, 24 and above. But if you want, you can also place 24, 25 until 26. That even if you know that there is no 26, you're going to place still 26. Just to make sure that the interval in each of the class, we call this as class, is the same. So 18, 21, 24 are called the lower limits, while 20, 23, 26 are called the upper limits. Okay, so for us to come up with the interval, or rather for us to come up with the bin range, so we are going to consider the upper limit, that is 20, 23, and 26. So this is what we are going to use. So the same procedure, click data analysis, histogram, click OK, and then you have to go back to our data set, and that is the age. So select this. For the bin range, so we have to change this to, what you need to select is this one, the upper limits. And click OK. So this is now our values. So we know that, again, we can just go back to our data. We know that 20 corresponds to 18 to 20, and 23 corresponds to 21 to 23, and 26 corresponds to 24 to 26. So what I'll do is just to copy it and paste it here. Okay, so this is the age. For the total, so if you just want to check it, then you can use equal sign, sum, open parenthesis, select the data, close parenthesis, and okay. So 29. So the same procedure for the percent. So this is equal, copy, select, and then 29 times 100. Again, 29 because the total is 29. And then drag it, and let's limit this into 2 decimal places. So right click, format cells, number, decimal is 2, click OK. So this is now the table for the age. So we are going to place it here. So this will be our table 2. Okay, so as I mentioned, it is now your task also to do other profiles like the socioeconomic status, the relationship status. So to complete our frequency count and percent distribution for all of these tables. So in the next video, we are also going to consider percent distribution. We are also going to consider the chart of our data. So for now, thank you for listening.